on the phone with Lori. So, Lori, unbeknownst to her, just listened to her friend being murdered, and Michael picks up the phone just so he can hear Lori's voice. Another great scene, still not the scariest, is after Michael's been shot by Loomis and presumably killed. They go to look for his body only to find that he's not there. He's vanished into the night, and Lori comes to the realization that he is, in fact, the boogeyman.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
All of these are fantastic scenes. Very effective, very scary, but still not the scariest scene in the film. Instead, I believe that belongs to the scene in which Lori is fleeing from Michael after discovering her dead friends. She's trying to make it back to the Doyle house, to get to the children, and Michael is pursuing her. He's not power walking, he's not running, but he is walking in a straight line, coming right for her. The door is locked and she pounds on it, trying to wake the kids up, pleading for them to let her in the house. All while Michael is getting ever closer behind her. It's so intense, it feels like he could just reach out and grab her at any minute. Every time I watch this movie, despite seeing it so many times before, I think this is the one time he's finally going to get her. And that, to me, is why it's Halloween's scariest scene. It's a common misconception that Dr. Loomis was brought back for Halloween Kills with CGI. It was actually just shitty practical makeup effects, which they had the nerve to brag about on Instagram.
Did Michael kill again? Did Michael kill again?
What's up, horror fam? Steven AKA Bojangles here, and well, those first responders just wouldn't let Michael Myers burn, so now he's back and seemingly badder than ever in Halloween Kills, which definitely lives up to its name. This time, Lori is confined to the hospital. Huh, that sounds familiar. While Michael goes on a killing spree through Haddonfield. Let's take a look at 10 things you didn't know about the movie. Originally, there was a different ending attached to the film. After killing Karen, her phone would ring, Myers would answer, and Lori would hear him breathing on the other end, before calling out her daughter's name. Coming to terms with what's happened, she grabs the knife Allison left in her room, and the camera focuses on the knife, like the ending of the previous film. So why was the ending changed? Halloween Ends is going to jump forward in time, and director David Gordon Green didn't want it implied that the next film would immediately pick up on the same night.
Goodbye, Michael.
This is the only Halloween film featuring Laurie Strode in which she and Michael share no scenes together.
I'll see you in hell.
This is the 6th time Jamie Lee Curtis has reprised her role as Laurie Strode, which means she now holds the record for the most appearances in the franchise. This title was previously held by Donald Pleasance, with 5 appearances. Jamie Lee is just a boss-ass bitch. She a boss-ass bitch. Lindsay Wallace may have escaped the original Halloween unscathed, but not this go-around. During their fight scene, actress Kyle Richards broke her nose. Ouch! In an interview with Variety, Richards admitted she didn't say anything on set because she didn't want to be replaced in the scene by her stunt double. During the interview, she also showed off her broken nose. Damn! She's a tough-ass bitch. She's a tough-ass bitch. Remember when I said Halloween Kills lives up to its name? Do you think I'm bullshitting? I'm not bullshitting. This movie has the highest body count in the franchise, and by a pretty large margin. The unrated cut of Rob Zombie's Halloween boasted a body count of 22. But that ain't shit compared to Halloween Kills, baby, which has a total body count of 34. Never thought David Gordon Green would out body count Rob Zombie. That's practically John Wick numbers.
Excuse me.
Can you ever have enough Paul Rudd in your movie? No, you can't. Producer Malik Akkad also agrees with this, as he tried to get Rudd to reprise his role from Halloween 6 The Curse of Michael Myers, even though this sequel has been retconned. Rudd declined the offer as it conflicted with his filming schedule for Ghostbusters Afterlife. Akkad, trying to save face, went on to explain why Rudd coming back wouldn't have made any sense, yada yada yada. Let's just face it, Akkad, you ain't got that Ant-Man money, boy. You ain't got it. When Michael attacks the vehicle with Nurse Marion Chambers in it, the window breaking effect is accomplished with the same process they used in the original Halloween film, by attaching a wrench to the stuntman's hand, which has been aptly titled The Poor Man's Process. The original plan was for Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends to be shot back to back, but it turns out making movies is hard work, so that's not happening. According to Andy Matichik, the scheduling was just far too intense. Now I wonder what Peter Jackson would have to say about that shit.
So anyway, look, I do my best.
A petition was launched on change.org to have the firefighter kill scenes removed from the film. I'll read the petition to you, but let me preface this by saying that the immense ass hurt is overpowering. I want the scenes in the new movie Halloween Kills where they show the slaughtering of firefighters. Oh, wait a minute, this is just a misunderstanding, guys. He wants the scene. It is wrong because firefighters have been lured to houses fire and murdered by the person who set the fire. Oh, so he does want the scene removed.
Bruh.
And it's wrong that Michael killed the firefighters with the gear from the other firefighters he killed. As a soon-to-be firefighter, I find it very offensive, and so does my mom and dad, who are retired firefighters. Okay, do me a favor. If my house ever catches on fire and this dude is my only hope... Let it burn! So I want that scene taken out of the movie. Michael didn't have to kill them in the way they saved him, so he should have saved the two firefighters in the house and went on his way to kill Sister. There is no reason for that horrible, disgusting scene, especially since it has happened in real life. Like I said, before firefighters have been lured to house fires and killed by some psychos in real life. Stay in school, kids. Doctors, nurses, babysitters, mechanics, and other professions have yet to comment on the situation. But oh, wait a minute. We're getting a call here from resident electrician Bucky. Bucky, what are your thoughts on Michael Myers targeting public employees?
Don't try that Halloween shit with me. All right. I'm on the telephone to the police right now. Don't you even think about leaving.
Looks like Bucky isn't in the Halloween spirit. Damn it, Michael! Well, I guess it's time for a new petition. What's the deal with Freddy Krueger's iconic red and green sweater? It boils down to science, bitch. No, really. Director Wes Craven said he read an article in Scientific American that the hardest colors for the human eye to see next to each other are red and green. So, he made that decision just to torture his audience. Respect. Subscribe to the channel and hit that like button, and if we get to 100 likes on this video, I'll do 10 things you didn't know about A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Now that's science.
Yes, science!
Tina's death scene is horrendous and incredibly creative, but how they achieved the effect is even crazier. The crew created a rotating room, nailing down all the furniture in a... Yo, what is up, horror fam? So, this is weird. Can everyone out there hear me? We are back to the old setup. And I'm just wondering if everybody can hear me, if all set. Okay, sweet. great, badass. Yeah, because the old setup cost money and was a little bit of a pain in the ass as far as that goes. Literally, that's the only reason, or else I would still be on that setup. But yeah, so we're back to this, the old setup. Some of you may remember this as its pros and cons, but it's interesting. It's like, you know, after doing the 30 days a certain way and then coming back to this, it's different. So I'm just like, please work. And as all of you can see, I am wearing the new TalkHorror merch. Check that out, man. Ain't that badass or what, huh? Got the killer bunny going. What y'all think about that, huh? And I have heard that both Danny Reinhardt and Patty Heckman have gotten their new TalkHorror merch. They've gotten their new shirts in, so tell me that's not pretty cool, huh? All right, man, who all we got in here? I want to see hands up right now in the chat. I see JK Pokemon, Chad, RS Kempf, and Single Text Guy, and Jonas. What's going on, man? What are y'all up to? So glad y'all are in here. Trav Zimmerman's even out there lurking around. What's going on? Huh? Hell yeah, Patty loves the new shirt. Yeah, so I'm going to be pulling this one solo tonight. Anna is not feeling the bestesses, though she may hop in chat. I'm not sure, but either way, it's looking like I am flying solo tonight. So we are tonight going to be talking about toxic fandom. I am LMNOP. What's going on, brother man? And yes, thank y'all. I love the new shirt, man. I love the bunny. The design on him is freaking huge. So, I mean, this design, like, covers the whole shirt almost. It's pretty wild, actually. JK says, I'm jealous. Teespring still hasn't even printed the t-shirt I ordered in early February. Oh my god. Yeah, Teespring is a real problem, man. And I talked with Teespring too. And they said that so Teespring lied to me. So Teespring lied to me because I talked to them and I was like, look, my fans have reported that they've been ordering merch and they're not getting it. It's taking literal months. Like, everyone I've talked to, and I'm not bullshitting here, everyone I have talked to has ordered t-shirts and it's taken them so long to get their t-shirts, their TalkHorror merch, that when they do get it, they're like, oh my god, I forgot this was even coming. That's how long it's taking Teespring to get TalkHorror merch delivered. And I talked to Teespring and they're like, well, we're aware of this and we have contacted everyone that's ordered merch from you and told them that we're having these issues and that it's not your fault. And I'm like, bullshit. Like, these people literally forget that they have merch on the way because there's been no communication and they haven't received anything. And these people who order merch from me, I don't want them to think that they can never reorder merch from me in the future. They're like, oh no, man, it's totally, we've let them know it's not your fault. It's like, bullshit. You have not been in contact with anybody. I asked everybody who I knew ordered merch, and everybody's like, no, they haven't said shit to me. So Teespring totally lied. And when I asked them if there was anything they could do about the merch, like if there was anything like they could expedite, like I could make the process go fast, anything, they're like, no. And then they proceeded to blame COVID. It's like, dude, that would have been like a valid excuse 2 years ago. maybe 1 year ago, but that would have been pushing it. But blaming COVID on like slow shipping times now, nah, man, full of shit. And also like the reps they connected me with were, they didn't care. They did not have any interest in what I was saying personally. You know what I'm saying? So I moved to TeePublic. TeePublic had like this, you know, offered me everything over the rainbow to come to them and blah, 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 blah. And then I get to TeePublic and I realize their shipping times are good and everything like that, but they screw me over. And I have no control over my merch nor my store really. And I'm not willing to do that. Like, I'm not willing to give up my material that I've created. So, I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm looking for a new merch vendor. Merch vendor. That's kind of what I've been going through with that. I do love the new shirts. They're badass, but man, these merch vendors, it's like, come on, dude. You know, you gotta up your game. If you want me to stick around, man, you gotta make it worth it for me. I'm not gonna screw my fans over. Period. And then, you know, when TeePublic is like, well, you know, we make money off of your designs, but you don't. That's super shady, because it's like, you're stealing my designs? Is that what's going on? So I don't like that. I don't like the idea of like a company can take my designs from me. I just don't. Like, that sucks. I worked on that. Like, come on, this is for us. So MJ Cinema, what's going on, brother? Gory Tiger, JP. And JK's like, oh man, at this point it's just funny. It is, man. It is super crazy and generic, the whole merch thing. I was going to show you all something. So here's something. I went to this retro place around here. Now, we don't have many places like this that like deal in records or vinyls or old action figures that you can't find, yada, 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 stuff like that. Old consoles and video games and stuff like that. But there is one. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to support these guys. And they just opened a new location. And I went in and looked through their DVDs and I found this and I bought it. And I actually told the guy who checked me out, I'm like, I am just purchasing this because it's become a meme on my podcast. And I told Jonas about this. And I saved it until I was doing a podcast just so I could do a live reveal right here, folks. This is what I picked up. Fear.com, my friends. Oh my God. Check that out, dude. It has become a meme across us horror fam to talk about this movie, and I found it, and this is actually in really damn good condition. I'm surprised. And look, I mean, this is how old this movie is. It comes in like the snap case. Check that out. It popped open like that, and then you would have your chapter select in there. Oh my God. Not exactly a NC-17, or I mean PG preview on the inside there, but hey. Yeah, man. Yeah, MJ. Fear.com says, MJ Cinema says, Fear.com wasn't amazing, but I didn't despise it. I'm going to have to rewatch it, man. I haven't seen it since I was very young. So, going to be interesting, but that's one that we have talked about on the show before. And by the way, I don't remember seeing you in here before, so welcome to the stream. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, my friend. You're one of us now. You're one of the horror fam. John Heckman in the house. Yes, tonight we're going to be talking about toxic fandom. And there's levels to this, okay? But I will say that this stream was inspired because I was on Facebook last night, and Tamara Glenn, and I'm not sure if some of you are familiar with her, so I'm going to pull her up on Google and kind of give you guys a picture here. So, Tamara Glenn was in Halloween 5. Here's a scene where she's in a barn. Here she is dressed up in her Red Devil costume. But that's what she is mostly known for. She's an actress. Here she is making out in the barn with her boyfriend, who looks like fucking Ed Harris or something like that. But, so, I'm on Facebook, and Tamara Glenn she went live, okay? And when you're live on Facebook, you know, you can catch the live stream, be a part of it like this, and then after the live stream's over, that video gets stored on the person's profile as just a static video. And I saw it afterwards, after it had just become a video. And I didn't get to watch it because it was super late at night, and I was like, ooh, I'm going to watch that today and see what's going on with her. Because she went live on Facebook to talk about a toxic fan, apparently. And this fan encounter ended up resulting in the fan being arrested by the police. So, I'm not sure what happened at all. Like, I don't know the story. Like I said, I missed it, and she has since deleted the video, it appears. And I didn't catch it while it was live, but I saw the comments last night, and I saw her discussing it just a little. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but apparently she had a very negative experience with a fan. And I mean, and it's just crazy. It's like, you know, she was in a movie 40 years ago, and she is still dealing with a psychotic fan. I mean, crazy. So that's what inspired this. I wish I could delve into the topic, but I can't. Like, I don't know exactly what happened with that situation, but we have some good stuff to talk about tonight. And I mean, I see MJ Cinema here touching on a topic that we are going to get into. He talks about the Halloween fandom and how that they can be toxic sometimes, because he says, quote, I love how Halloween fans will try to criticize other fans for liking H5 and Rob Zombie's Halloween, yet they heavily defend Halloween Ends, which is worse written than either of those. That's a good point. Like I said, that is definitely a part of the toxic fandom. I think some franchises have that built in where it's like, no matter what, people are going to like whatever regurgitation gets thrown into that franchise. You know, because I have seen people, you know, talking about, you know, Halloween Ends is the best, and people, you know, and the Scream franchise is guilty of it too. The odd thing about the Scream franchise is that the movies themselves make fun of toxic fandom, and that's kind of like what they've become, is like a satire of themselves. And it's like they're talking crap about toxic fandom and all that, and then catering to it. So definitely weird. But here's a story we're going to get into, and it's weird, MJ, that you do bring up the Halloween franchise, because one of and MJ Cinema right here says, if you like Ends, cool, but that doesn't mean the rest of the fandom is obligated to like it. Agreed. Agreed, man. And that's a good point. You know, live and let live, bro. But I've kind of noticed that now as well, you know, when we're talking about these franchises, is that people, like I said, will like anything that is thrown into the franchise, and that is more true now than ever. And I think there might be some reasons for that. So for instance, let's look at Halloween 3 and Friday the 13th Part 5. And there may be levels to this. Now, I like Halloween 3 a good bit. And I like Friday the 13th 5. But I've kind of noticed that those two sequels have kind of become like the hipsters sequels. Like, people like them. And I'm not, like, people love it, like, say that they're their favorite. Now, Halloween 3, I can give a pass to that. Because it is different than any other entry in the franchise. And I do believe that had Halloween 3 been named something else, been titled something different, I think it would have been much more well received. I think people felt betrayed by that. And the thing is, like, it used to be if you liked Halloween 3 or Friday the 13th 5, you got absolutely blasted for liking those movies, man. Like, yeah, Briggs says it right here, like, it's overcompensation for the previous rep, man. Admitting you liked Halloween 3 would get you mercilessly blasted for... Exactly! There you go, bro. Hey, thinking alike here, dude. That is true. That used to be, you know, those movies were rated like a 3 on IMDb. But the thing is now, I think people, fans, they are overcompensating, but also I think... you have a subset of fans, and this is especially true. Like, you will definitely notice this in the music genre, music fandom, band fandom, artist fandom, whatever, more than anywhere else. We all know someone, and it may even be you, but we all know someone who liked a band, and then when that band became popular, they didn't like them. Or we know someone who liked the band because, you know, they were unpopular. Same thing. And we've all know, you know, I mean, hell, it happened to Metallica when they came out with the Black Album. They got accused of selling out. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So when a band becomes successful for what they do, an artist that you like and support supposedly becomes successful and finally makes money at their craft, you don't like them anymore? And I think that is kind of what has happened with Halloween 3 and Friday the 13th 5. I think some people latched onto those because they were like the redheaded stepchilds of both huge franchises, and people wanted to stick out. Like, people want to think that they're different, that they have sometimes, and people want to think that they have superior tastes or see things that other people don't see. And that is another level to toxic fandom, I think. So, you know, no, I'm not mistaking the Black Album, Chad. No, they got accused of selling out for the Black Album. But you're right, fans did get pissed when they cut their hair. That is also something that Metallica had to deal with. But it's like, when Metallica the Black Album took them from being you know, as popular as you could get within the thrash metal genre. The Black Album took them into mainstream. People who were listening to freaking, you know, Cyndi Lauper and Michael Jackson at that time are now listening to Metallica too. And a certain subset of fans could not handle that shit. But like I said, it's like now Halloween 3 I will give a pass because it is nothing like any other entry in the franchise. And now people aren't as pissed when they watch Halloween 3 or Friday 13th 5 because you already know, like, well, that's the one without Michael Myers. Well, that's the one without Jason. So, people, I imagine when people went to see him in theaters and were appalled when they, there's been 2 entries in the Halloween series, and then the third one, all of a sudden, you're watching this totally different movie that just deviates from the rest. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. So people were pissed. So now people are a little more accepting when they watch those because they know what to expect. But like I said, I give Halloween 3 a little bit of a pass on the people who say they really love that one. But I think, like, people who are like, man, Friday the 13th Part 5 is my favorite in the series. I think that's a little... because that one brings nothing new or different to the table, really. Apart from, like, there's a twist at the end of the movie, at the very end. It's pretty much a very run-of-the-mill, very average Friday the 13th entry. Now, like I said, I like it. I like Halloween 3, but people, like, there's definitely some levels to the toxic fandom out there that, I think is worth mentioning. So, in MJ Cinema, I mean, that's kind of, what you're talking about a little bit. It's like, people will, they like this, and then it's untouchable to them, and you know what I'm saying? They'll blast, like what makes Halloween Ends or Halloween 2018 okay, and people eat that, and Rob Zombie's Halloween not. You know what I'm saying? And I think what it is, one way that some of these production companies some of these filmmakers have gotten around that is they throw in so much fandom. They masturbate the fandom throughout the entire movie watching experience with Easter eggs and bullshit from previous entries in the franchise, that the fandom gives them a pass for lacking originality. It's like, I'm watching Halloween 2018, and there are so many throwbacks and callbacks and nods and blah, 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 blah to the previous 30 entries in the franchise. It's like Halloween 2018 almost lacks an identity of its own. And I think that is kind of, Briggs talked about this too. This is something I wanted to touch on too. Briggs messaged me earlier. I told him about the topic I was going to do tonight, and he talked about toxic positivity. And that is definitely a layer of it. But he spoke of it in the sense that he even hates the term that he hates the term elevated horror, which I believe was coined in Scream 5 of all movies, and that's when, of course, they're referring to, like, The Witch and Hereditary and all this, because it degrades it makes it seem like other horror by default is subpar in some way, which is a good point, Briggs. I really like that, because it's like, well, this is elevated horror, this is on a different level, this is better than other, and it's like, why? Right, so it makes, like, your average horror, it look like, so it has to be an A24 film to be elevated horror. Come on, man. Come on. So that was an interesting point you brought up, Briggs. Oh, and Pretty Lilia, something, I can't read your name. Oh, come on. Says H2O, the restroom scene still gives me anxiety. Oh my God, you and me both. She is, of course, talking about when the mother and daughter stop in at a restaurant, a public restroom off of the highway. And Michael Myers comes into the public restroom and they can just see him walking through the cracks in their doors. And it's like, oh my God, dude. So scary. Talk about like a series that has like the most scary public restroom moments ever. Like, I think they're trying to tell us it is not safe to take a Duke. I mean, you have Halloween H2O, you have Halloween 2018, and then of course you have Big Joe Grizzly getting manhandled in the restroom in Rob Zombie's Halloween. It's like, oh my God, dude. Like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I think horror movies know that. I think guys know that, because it's mostly guys who are writing these movies. And I think they just know that, dude. When we are sitting on the toilet and we have our pants around our ankles, we just know how vulnerable we is. We is. Oh my God, listen at me. We are. Think about Sleepaway Camp, man. That is one of the scariest damn scenes. When that dude is relieving himself and somebody drops a freaking beehive in on him, man. Angela, what a dick, huh? Oh my God. But here's what we're going to get into after I kind of went off the rails a little bit there talking about the toxic fandom. I was going to talk about that a little bit later. Instead, I'm going to talk, I was going to move into, after talking about Tamara Glenn's story with some sort of fan encounter that was horribly negative, I was going to move into the Danielle Harris story. And speaking of crazy stuff and crazy fans and stuff, and the Halloween franchise, man, I don't know what it does. It just brings these people out of the woodwork. But as you all know, Danielle Harris is mostly known for her role as Jamie Lloyd in the Halloween franchise, in Halloween 4 and 5. And then, of course, she also plays Annie in Rob Zombie's Halloween. So she made a return to the franchise. And here she is, a red carpet event for Halloween Ends and stuff. That's a whole other story. But she was the victim of a stalker. And we're going to get into this story a little bit. I'm going to read this, y'all. If you all don't know the story, this is absolutely crazy and scary, and then we're going to discuss it a little bit. But check this out. This is when she was on the Dr. Phil show. She went on the Dr. Phil show to talk about this. Here we go. I've been receiving fan mail since I was a kid. Nothing ever really odd, just I'm your biggest fan and send me your picture, says Danielle Harris, who has appeared in Halloween 4, 5, and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Then one fan took it too far. He began stalking me. The fan sent her 300 through 400 letters. He became obsessed. He started getting mad at me for changing the way that I looked. When I was on Roseanne, I cut my hair for a role, and he didn't like that. And let me tell you something. Danielle Harris, I've seen her on Roseanne. Okay, she was on Roseanne, but it was a very... this is the crazy... it was such a limited role. I think she was only in, 7 episodes. She played the next door neighbor, the wayward next door neighbor, and it's she was never a main character or a main... maybe there was, one episode where, the plot line kind of, revolved around her. But... nothing crazy, and this dude latched on to that. Okay, but here we go. The letters started getting really violent and sexually graphic. If I didn't do what he wanted me to do, then he was going to kill me. He would talk about where he wanted to stick a knife inside of me and how he wanted to cut me up into little pieces. You feel raped. You feel totally vulnerable. One morning, her home phone rang and her mother answered it. She mouthed to me, "Someone's trying to kill you," Danielle recalls. It was Houston police saying that there's this man who's coming to get me and bring me back with him. I was scared for my life. The police arrested him in front of her house. He came to my house with a teddy bear in the back of his car and a shotgun and a 9mm pistol. He was brought in and questioned and escorted back to Texas. Danielle placed a restraining order against the man. The day after the restraining order had expired, before the other one had gone into effect, he sent flowers to my new address saying, "I love you, happy birthday." And I went, okay, here we go. I just didn't think that it would happen again, she says. I got a few letters over the years. The last letter I received from him was saying that he wanted my forgiveness because he never meant to scare me. And I will say, I'll take a minute here and just say that I do know, because I know when she was on the Dr. Phil show, like, this is a little bit of an older show, so I don't know if it will touch on this. But I do know that this stalker, here she mentions the last letter she received from him. As they moved into the digital age, this stalker proceeded to pursue her and started to harass her on Twitter as well. So she ended up having to get another restraining order on him, or renew one, whatever. They only last so long, but she had to get another restraining order on him in 2010 for messing with her on Twitter. But let's see here. Danielle has changed the way she conducts her life in an effort to deter any future stalkers. I don't have a bill in my name. I look over my shoulder all the time. If I pull up to my house and there's a random car, I won't get out of my car. When I do travel, I travel under a different name. I know how to fight. I know how to use weapons, and I'm very aware of my surroundings, she says. I've learned to trust my instincts. I know when something isn't right. If you feel like something's wrong, something's most likely wrong. Dr. Phil asks Danielle, do you worry about it the more and more that you're out there? I do, she says. I was kind of under the radar for a while, but I'm getting ready to do another big movie, and I'm afraid it's going to start right back up again. What were you thinking about when we were talking about what was going on with this story with Jay-Z and Katrina? Dr. Phil asks. If I saw my stalker, if I was getting 200 emails a day, even just what I've had happen to me, I would run the other way, she says. Turning to Katrina, she adds, what you're doing isn't going to make him want you. The exact opposite is exactly what's happening. You've made him scared of you. It's just not going to happen. Now, I'm not sure. I can't comment on the Katrina thing here. So I don't know what she's responding to exactly. And this article should have been better written. But Danielle says that she worries her stalker will return. Every day I get fan letters and I'm looking for his handwriting, she says. Dr. Phil asked Danielle, what would you say to Katrina as somebody who's been on the other end of what she's been doing? You're a beautiful, articulate girl who has so many opportunities and you're wasting your time and you're directing your energy in the wrong way, she says. You're making him afraid of you. Okay, so Katrina's super attracted to Jay-Z or whatever and stalking him. But anyway, she says, if you're his biggest fan, leave him alone and be happy for him that he is with someone whom it seems like he might be in love with. Go find yourself someone who loves you as much as you say you love Jay-Z. And this was right before the Rob Zombie's Halloween, is when this interview was conducted. So that is just insane. And I would love to hear that tale there, Briggs. Briggs is saying that Kimberly Beck from Friday the 13th Part 4 has a similar tale, but that has to be incredibly terrifying. Could you imagine that you get a call from the cops and they're like, look, the stalker you have, he's coming for you. He wants to take you with him. He wants to abduct you. And then you find out that once that stalker gets to your house, that he had a shotgun and a 9mm pistol. And then a teddy bear. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude, get this son of a bitch locked up. Like, why is she still dealing with this and having to go through restraining orders in 2010? It's like, this hasn't, she's been dealing with this for how long? I mean, since she was a little girl. She was a little girl in the 90s. She was a little girl on Roseanne. She was a little girl in Halloween. I mean, she was like 12 years old. Why is she still dealing with this? And restraining orders don't mean shit. I mean, for some people, man. I mean, for people who are truly nuts, like, what is that? That's a piece of paper. That doesn't mean... It's like, okay, if you go around them, you get a slap on the wrist. You might do, a weekend in jail or a fine or something. But that shit doesn't matter if they kill them. So, and Danielle Harris is an extremely tiny woman. And I mean, hell, back then, she was a kid. It's not like she hasn't grown much anyway. So, abducting her would be super easy for this creep, man. And, JK says here, scary truth is that this has probably happened to just about every famous person, and you are scarily accurate, man. That, I read a book on stuff like this not too long ago at all. It was about stalkers and stuff like that. And I mean, what these celebrities have to face is absolutely startling, man. It's like, I was reading about this one celebrity that, well, first of all, these celebrities, stalking is so commonplace for them that they don't even... They don't even, like, their stalker stories don't even get published, and nobody talks about them unless something like truly crazy, like they have to be killed by them at this point because it is so common. Now that's the scary thing. Like, it is so common, it's so accepted that every celebrity has a stalker and multiple, that nobody even talks about it anymore. But I was reading this story on this person who, like, there are firms that handle stalkers. Now, they obviously can't go out like some Italians and break their knees, but they assess the situation. Their job is to assess the situation and to determine whether or not, based on statistics and other information and stuff that they have gathered, whether or not this stalker is a true threat. And which stalker of yours is a true, because like I said, most of these celebrities and stuff have multiple stalkers going on. And this story talked about how, one of his clients, he was like, this guy is an absolute threat. Your life is in danger. And they ended up getting the police involved, and this dude's agency got involved, and they're looking for this stalker who's going after this woman. So they're like canvassing the area around her house. While they're fucking doing this, looking for this particular stalker who they're like, he's gone off the rails, he's going to kill you, they find another stalker of hers hiding out in the bushes, watching her house. Like, a totally unrelated, just an unrelated case. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's how common it is. And that's how close these people sometimes are. So, I don't know. It's crazy. It is crazy. It would be extremely scary to be a celebrity, man, and to have to deal with stuff like that. To have to pretty much, like, when you become famous or known for something, it's like you're going to forfeit a piece of your life. you're giving something up. You know, I watched a video the other day on Taylor Swift talking about it. She's like, she has stalkers and she has fans and she has paparazzi and all this stuff that follow her constantly. And she's like, the only time, and you know, she wasn't even complaining, but she was like, the only time that she gets to feel normal, like a normal person, the closest thing she gets is when she's in her apartment. And that's it. She's like, I understand that the minute I leave this apartment, I'm going to have a camera in my face. People are going to be trying to touch me. And it's just, it's nuts, man. You know, I couldn't imagine, you know, some of these people, especially women, man. It has to be insanely scary. You know, and these are people that they have to make a living. You know, they have committed their lives to this public image and persona, and you know, putting themselves out there. I mean, Danielle Harris now, to make money, obviously has to go to conventions. You know, how easy would it be for some crazy stalker to just walk up with a gun and just in that? Or, you know, I mean, there's tons of scenarios, man. Tons of scenarios where, you know, these people who have to put themselves out there, they are easily accessible. And it would just be horribly terrifying, you know. But I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, okay, shotgun, 9mm handgun showing up to her house. Now that's scary as shit. And then you also see teddy bear, and it's like, oh my god, that is somehow the scariest part of the whole story. Like, he was also bringing a teddy bear. It's like, oh my god, this dude was off the rails, man. Like, he had some terrible shit planned for her. Absolutely terrible. So, you know, that's a level of toxic fandom too that I just wanted to get into. It's like, it's almost like people become obsessed with these celebrities and stuff like that and completely dehumanize them. They look at them like an object and become obsessed with it. They become just obsessed, just compulsively obsessed with them. And it's scary, man. And, you know, and now in the technology age, it's easier than ever to gain access into people's personal lives. You know, some of the big YouTubers out there, man, like H3H3, I don't know if any of you watch him. He has, he used to create content. He used to create videos, and now he has moved, for the past few years, he's moved to a podcast only. He won't do videos anymore for some reason. I don't know why. But I remember him talking about it, man. You know, he had an apartment in New York, and he had fans show up at his place in New York, man. He's like, don't do that. Like, that's, you know, that's not cool. That's not kosher. I know Boogie2988, if any of you remember him, he, you know, had the famous Francis character where he would play video games and get pissed. He had somebody show up to his house who was a fellow content creator, and they showed up to his house wanting to fight him or something like that and refused to get off of Boogie's property until Boogie had to pull out a handgun. Scary, man. But, you know, and I was, you know, reading up on this female YouTuber the other day, and she would, you know, and this chick, I don't know what she does. I just remember she only had, like, I don't mean only to kind of like it's anything to sneeze at, but she had like 50,000 subscribers. So it wasn't like she's like PewDiePie huge. It's not like she has a damn gold play button with millions of fans. She's my size. I may have been bigger than her. And she was talking about how she posted a picture on social media, and it was like, you could see, like, in one quarter of the picture, you could see just her backyard barely. Just a snippet of, like, her backyard, and some fan went nuts and found her. Just from, like, a quarter of the image. Like, you could just see a little peek at her backyard. And it's crazy, man. I know, God, there was some celebrity, I can't remember who it was, but was it Shia LaBeouf? I can't remember, but somebody had put up a flag in their yard or whatever, and it was a political flag, and whatever. And they pointed a camera at it and like live streamed it all the time. Like live streamed like this political flag. It could have been something like fuck Donald Trump. It's like one of those flags or something. And like he had the camera facing that flag. Just live streaming the shit out of it 24/7. 4chan, the message board, because the camera was facing the flag up in the air, were able to like geolocate the damn flag based on the positioning of the stars in the sky. And they found out where this flag was located. And, trashed it or whatever. But tell me that's how smart some of these people are, man. That can gain access to your life. Like, that is absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. And the Diabolical Doctor here says, this is one reason why I don't meet celebrities. I don't want to unintentionally get them feeling awkward or overwhelmed, like I'm gawking at them from behind glass. Yeah, that's the thing, man. You just gotta remember that they're humans too. They, are the same as the rest of us, and it's like, if it's at a convention, then hell, they're being paid to be nice to you. You know what I'm saying? It's a equal trade there. It's a fair trade, so that's fine, man. But like, yeah, man, if I'm not saying that I'm not one of those who would like not approach a celebrity, because I have. But I pick, I remember that they're human too, and like I pick the time to do it. If somebody's sitting down to have dinner, I'm not going to go interrupt that shit. If somebody's out with their kid playing at the park, I'm not going to go over to them and interrupt that. That's personal time, man. That's, now if I run into them in a damn CVS in Savannah, Georgia, then yeah, I'll tell you, hey man, let me get a selfie real quick, brother, you mind? But, so toxic fandoms are out there. I mean, we have like 11 minutes left here, so if anybody wants to throw out questions, comments, whatever, I will start getting to them. But, toxic fandoms are out there and in like a multitude of ways, man. There's just, as much as we, the horror fam, love each other and, feed off of each other and we're here for each other, there's been times when I've had to deal with it. There's been people that get in, my comments section and blast my ass or whatever. And it's like, you're watching my video, dude. Like, why are you here hating on me? I mean, like, you're spending time commenting and you spend time and like you're just here to insult me. Now it's like, You know, now it's totally, I will say, like, it's much better though when they leave like a critique, like it's, or something that I can take something away from. Like if someone leaves a critique, like, dude, your sound engineering sucked ass in this video, or dude, your lighting was dumb as hell, turn that, like, that's, you know, yeah, they're cussing at me, and they could have maybe, you know, got their point across in a better way, but at least I can take something from that. I can be like, this person, they may be a dick, but was my lighting bad? Was my sound engineering bad? Am I getting other comments similar to this? Then I'm going to look into it. But there have been some that get on there and, you know, they make fun of me for my accent, of course, makes me a huge target. I will, you know, it's ironic that earlier I was reading a story from Dr. Phil, because I get that shit all the time. Like, people will comment on my videos and be like, why do you sound like Dr. Phil? Or something very, you know, I've had some that are like funny. Some have legitimately made me laugh out loud, and some are just flat out like people just spilling like anger on me, man. So, you know, I've had to deal with it a little bit too. So, you know, it's there's just toxic fandom out there all around, you know. Yeah, and then there's Jonas, you know, he's that crazy fan that flew from Texas to West Virginia to hang out with me. Because, hey, that's how we roll in the horror fan, baby. Sometimes, you know, we gotta hang out, we gotta hit that vacay and get that drink flowing, man. Damn right, yeah, we keep Jonas locked up in that basement, baby. Damn, so, Chad says, what happens when the celebrity approaches you? I was eating at Wahlburgers at the opening, and both Donnie and Mark were there. I felt so awkward. Did they legitimately, like, approach you? Like, and be like, hey, man, how's the burger? Or anything like that? Like, what went on with that story, man? But, man, I'd be so stunned. Hey, what's up, man? What's up, Donnie? Hey. I'll fill out one of your questionnaires, man. If you hook me up with this autograph on, this Saw poster, dude. Or Dead Silence. Ooh, yeah, I'll trade you, bro. But, you know, and there's another level to toxic fandom. Briggs, are you still in here, man? Because, I'd like to hear your opinion on this and see if you have come across any of this. So, let me get a drink of water here. And some of you may have come across this too. But I am not a political person. I hate politics. I think people get caught up in them. For some reason, they get like emotionally involved, emotionally attached. And then they fight with other people. And it's like, dude, that's not going to change shit. You know, you have a different person, a different opinion than this person, and you're going to fight with them over. I just don't like that. And I know horror movies and horror shows and stuff like that have been political for pretty much ever, but they were more digestible, especially before I was born and stuff like that. Kids, you know, I wasn't around during that. You know, now I get to sit around and witness people bitch at each other. But also, it was more easily digestible because they have a story, and the story was what was important. And then they might throw a little hint of a message, maybe in a comedic way. Or The Twilight Zone is a great example if you want to watch something that's going to discuss politics a little bit here and there, but do it in a way that they're telling you an easily digestible, fantastic story. Like, they have a story, and they've thrown this in there, and it's just masterful the way they did it. Now it's like, Yeah, and maybe that's it too, Chad. You know, it's easier for people to fight with each other because of now there's social media. And, you know, Bree says we get emotionally attached because politics are kind of important. What are you doing to change that? What are you doing to, you know, or you know, what are you doing to change the world of politics, man? You know, how are you involved in that world? Like, so I'm saying, like, it doesn't help to get on social media and fight with each other over it. Like, that's my point. But the crappy thing is that now in horror, now I promise this is going to get on to toxic fandom here in a minute, but the crappy thing is in horror now, the message has now become, in a lot of senses, the political message that these filmmakers want to shove down people's throats and all that has become more important than the story. And it sucks. It's like, and I hate politics on both sides. But for the most part, from what I've seen, it's like you are going to get in what passes in horror is mostly leftist type stuff, left leaning, or just flat out stuff, and it's like, and like I said, I hate politics. I hate even talking about them right now. I feel icky talking about them right now. I feel like I got something on me that I need to wash off. I hate it. But when you do that, when the movies are a lot of movies are tainted with politics now, and they come first. They come before the story. So I ran into this situation that sucks, and this is kind of like a consequence of that. It's like, you know, I get on Facebook, and I joined this group at one point in time, and I won't say the group name because I do not want to give them any attention whatsoever, because I think what they're doing is horrible. I think they are, I just don't like it. But, so this is where the toxic fandom comes into it, and then, like I said, it's a consequence, kind of like, you know, well, that's your opinion, so I'm going to have mine, motherfucker, and this is how I'm going to get it. This is my platform for getting it out of there. So what they did is, you know, I joined this Facebook group, and it was just for horror memes. Funny pictures. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Like, I joined that for a little bit of joy. And, you know, I don't get on Facebook all that often. In West Virginia, you kind of need it, though, because that's the main way people communicate out here, and as shit happens in your community, like, that's how you're going to figure out the news, period. So I'm scrolling through a Facebook and this group, man, you know, I joined, totally forgot about, but you know, sometimes you get stuff from them. This group that is supposed to be dedicated to horror memes has devolved into right-wing bash on leftist group, and like this is like, and like I said, I hate politics on both fucking sides. Like, you guys will never be able to get on here, I hope, and be like, well, Steve is this or Steve is that. No, I'm not. I hate both. But this Facebook group, man, just devolved into, it's supposed to be horror memes, right? I go, you know, I'm scrolling through this shit, and I see people posting things making fun of leftists, and then I see people posting like actual dead bodies of, you know that recent school shooting. They were posting like the dead body of like the shooter, and making fun of her, and as if she was a leftist. And I'm like, so I immediately left the group. I was like, but before I did, I was like, so this was supposed to be a horror meme group, and they're allowing people to come in here and post political memes. And I was like, why is this flying? I'm like, how, so I'm like, is there an admin I can contact? Why is this just not got seen yet? I look, and it is the fucking admin of this group is the one who is posting the shit. And encouraging people to post more and getting in the comments and laughing and giving it, and there were people like me in those comments too. Like, I thought this was a horror group. Like, what is going on here? Why is this? Why are you using... it had like 200,000 members, and they have turned that group into indoctrinating people and spreading their message. And this woman who runs the group is the admin of the group. She is, of course, one of those people who won't even... like I said, I found out she was the one who runs... And she's in the comments telling people, like, well, if you don't like it, it's because you're a sensitive snowflake. And she's one of those people who doesn't even have the courage to have a profile picture. She's like one of those people that, like, uses a cartoon as her profile picture. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just, there's toxicity in just so many different ways out there, people, that, I just wanted to touch on tonight. And like, I absolutely got the hell out of that group. I'm like, this is not what I want to be a part of. This is not what, I joined this to, like I said, get some happiness in my life for something that I'm passionate about and love, and that's horror movies. And you're using this to spread your political message just because you have a small following on Facebook. It's like, okay. I see what you're doing there, bud. Like, it's not cute. And I have the same problem with media personalities, or who all of a sudden it's like, I'm going to indoctrinate all my followers now to be little clones of me. It's like, come on, man. And like I said, I hate it on both sides. I absolutely hate it. I hate it. I hate that horror movies have kind of, some, have devolved into this message over substance thing, But yeah. So it's just and I will say, in all fairness, now I'm on Instagram and like I follow meme accounts on there and fellow horror, and it sucks that because of these movies being, maybe it's like a symptom of these movies being politicized in such a way. Now on Instagram, like I'll scroll through there, and like on the flip side, I will see leftist folks using horror to spread their message. So it's both groups do it. Both are assholes. But it exists. And yeah, Chad, I think you are thinking of the same group, brother man. I think you are. Because I think one day I saw you like share a picture or something from it. I'm not sure, but let's see here. So like I said, I'm going to start wrapping it up, folks. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. It's, I'm 3 past the hour. I'll give it a couple more minutes if people want to send in their questions, comments, whatever. I will get to them. I hope you all have enjoyed this podcast tonight. This has been a different one. It's been on a really different topic for us. It's a little more serious, but it's something I was like, it could be interesting to talk about, because there's some scary stuff that goes on out there. I know we always talk about how much, and I love you guys. I love the horror fam. I love this. Man, there's some scary stuff out there that's interesting to me. I was like, man, we got to talk about this a little bit. And like, I feel bad, so bad for like Tamara Glenn, whatever she's going through. I don't know what it is, but involve the cops either way. And Danielle Harris, and it's like, God, that has to be so scary, man. So scary. Unsung Hero says, the accent is cool. It adds character to your channel. Thank you, brother. I get that comment sometimes too. Nowhere near as much as like people will come in and just troll the shit out of me for it, but I have gotten that comment before. People saying like, hey, you talk like me, or hey, you're a fellow country, or but yeah, that's how I look at it, man. I'm like, hey, dude, it, separates me from everyone else. So I like it. I wouldn't change it. Briggs says, I will say that when you're making art, the art/story needs to come first. A noble message will not make a bland piece any more watchable. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's nuts. Let's see. Well, it just, and it reduces a lot of these, a lot of that stuff too, when they include politics and stuff like that in movies too, is it's not, it reduces people to stereotypes. Is what a lot of that politicized stuff does. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like you see a redneck in a horror movie, and especially, and you know exactly where they're going with it. You know what that's going to look like. It's going to look like, oh man, he's backwoods, ignorant, talks a certain way, definitely a Republican, and hates other ethnicities. And then sometimes it's like, and then typically you're going to be like cannibal inbred hillbillies in a lot of them too. That's why I like Tucker and Dale versus Evil a lot. It kind of turns that thing up on its head. But then, and then like I said, it reduces people to these stereotypes. It's like, and then the same thing is true for, black people. They don't get to have their own story or their own thing. It reduces them to, oh, well, they don't get a face like an actual monster or an actual demon or an actual something that's scary. They get to, racism is the true monster of the movie. And that's what they have to deal. It's like, man, come on, that is not fair. So yeah, man, it sucks. It sucks. I hate politics on both sides. Despise it. Yeah, JK, wrong turn. There you go, man. That's all us rednecks are good for, is having sex with our relatives and eating each other. Or outsiders, excuse me. We got to keep our numbers up there. Chad Evans, do you think toxicity can be used as a starting point for conversation towards mental health? I absolutely do. Man. I think there needs to be more focus on that, and people need to, there needs to be more respect for mental health and more assets for people. It's like, there's a lot of people in my area that suffer from mental health issues, and we're in like, I can't remember, what the word is for, but we're in like a medical desert, man. It's like, the nearest psychologist or psychiatrist is an hour away through twisty, turny, horrible mountain roads, and so it's an hour away, so they're not easy to get to, they're not easily accessible, and they're overflowing with patients, and gas is $3.55 a gallon. So it's hard on people out here. But absolutely, man, I think there needs to be more resources for mental health, and I think that people need to respect it more. I think that's starting to come to light a lot more, in the past few years, but I do think there needs to be more resources for it. Yeah, man. Yeah, Chad says, and this is a good point, he says, I miss simple movies like Evil Dead. It was refreshing. It's been refreshing to see some of these movies. I was thinking about Evil Dead Rise, and I was like, man, it is so refreshing just to sit down and watch a straight up horror movie. Like, there's no message they're trying to get across to me. Like, there's no bullshit message that the filmmaker wanted to indoctrinate me with while I'm sitting there watching this movie. I can just sit back and relax as much as you can, you know, during a hectic movie like that. But it was so refreshing, dude. The Diabolical Doctor says, I wish there'd be a new horror film that's just balls to the wall suspense. Hell yeah. That'd be nice, man. Yeah, JK says, I have a feeling there's so much division politically that in the, you know, near term, we're probably going to see movies influenced by this. Yeah, sadly, man, you know, we'll get waves of it, but hopefully, you know, as Anna like to says, that pendulum will swing and things will kind of level out. I hope, man. I hope. Because like I said, it's nice when you can just sit back and watch a movie and you don't have to watch someone tell you, if you live this way, you're bad. If you think this way, you're bad. You should do this. It's like, fuck, man. Come on, let me just watch this. I just want to watch the demons possess people. Come on. I want to watch the cocaine-fueled bear eat those people. Come on, let them eat them. Those teenagers are dicks. Let me watch the bear eat them. Man. Well, all right, my friends. I'm 11 minutes past the hour. I'm going to go get me something to eat. And I don't know. Relax. I'm going to relax. This is, like I said, this has been a very, you know, this discussion, I don't know why I chose to do this tonight, but it's an interesting topic, and I almost wish I had some. It's a heavy topic too that I wish I had somebody to go back and forth with on this one. You know, like there's some topics I feel like I should tackle alone. Like, or I could. Not that I should. I feel like I could tackle alone, and it would be so easy. This one's a heavy one, and this is one where I'm like, I should have had a co-host, and I tried to get some people locked down, and I couldn't make it happen, but how did you guys like tonight's topic? Because to me, it's very heavy. I despise politics, which we had to talk about a little bit to discuss some of the toxicity that, like I said, there's multitudes to it that, like, I feel like I had to touch on, but after talking about it, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta wash myself off after all that, because it's just so inherently negative. I hate it. But how did you guys feel? Like, I want to know how you guys felt about the topic. Did I do it justice? Did I do this topic justice? Did I deliver a message? Did I talk about what we needed to talk about? You know, we talked about personal celebrity stalker stories with Tamara Glenn from Halloween 5, Danielle Harris also from the Halloween franchise. We talked about, you know, the toxicity that, you know, some fandoms have that are attached to horror movies themselves, and then some of the stuff you see on social media and on YouTube and stuff. Like, I hope this has been, I hope I wasn't just here babbling about and you guys got some sort of value out of this. So the Diabolical Doctor says, great idea for a stream tonight again, Bo. Hope you enjoy dinner. Thank you, Doctor. I really appreciate that, man. I hope it was good for you, dude. Chad says, get Anna better. Want to see her next week. I will try to throw that request in, man. I'll try. We'll see how she feels, dude. Oh, Chad says, you could have asked me. I would have jumped in, no questions asked. Yeah, that could have been cool, man. Like, this was just a heavy one, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, on topics that I'm not as comfortable to, because I don't want any, I don't lean any way. I'm for myself, baby. I should run, damn it. That's what we should do. We should take the horror fam to Washington. I'll get in that bad boy with my Killer Bunny t-shirt and be like, I'm taking this shit over. This is how we're going to do things from now on. JK says, maybe it could be a video series, Victims of Stalking. That would be cool, man. Because like I said, I'm interested in stuff like that too, like, because it's creepy, and the psychology of it, and like I said, it's like, oh my God, the stalker who showed up to Danielle Harris, it's like the creepiest part of that isn't even the fucking shotgun and pistol to me. It's like, oh my god, and he had a teddy bear. Like, that's like the cherry icing on the crazy cake, man. Yeah, JK says, I think you did fine. It might be a little heavy for a 1 hour stream. I think, yeah, dude, it's a lot, man. But I'm wild, man. You know, I'll be like, you know what? This would be cool to talk about. I'm gonna go in there, and then here I am. Like, oh my god. Chad Edmond says, you did a great job. I hope you opened some eyes tonight. Thank you, brother, man. Yeah, it's, you know, it's just, you know, I you know, and speaking on that Facebook group, because I know you're familiar with them too, dude. It's just like, come on, dude. You guys are cowards, and you're manipulating people and what intentionally brought them there. And that's shady as hell, man. Super, super shady. But, alright, man, and I think that's going to be it for me tonight, my friends. I thank you all so much for sticking around, for talking with me. I'll be here next week. I know this is the second week where we've had some separation from each other. I miss you all too. But I will be back next week, my friends, with another topic, and hopefully one that's not so heavy and icky. Man, I'm gonna do something really fun next week. Maybe I'll reveal a little bit of chest hair for it, and you know, explode out of the old shirt. You know what I'm saying? Something. We gotta do something fun, damn it. All right, my friends. I'll see y'all next time. So make sure you look horror, listen horror, and talk horror, my friends. I love you all. Thank you all so much for coming in, man. Y'all have a great night. Goodbye, everybody.